Want your boss to put some real action behind the rhetoric when they talk about making your workplace more inclusive? Find out how to hold their feet to the fire and demand diversity on the Diversity Dude podcast.
Hello there, and welcome back to the Diversity Dude podcast. I'm your host, Lambert Fisher, marriage and family therapist, award-winning author, and national speaker on the topic of multicultural awareness and diversity. And for those of you who are interested in even more positive and encouraging tips and strategies beyond what I share in podcasts like this, then feel free to check out my award-winning book, Diversity in Clinical Practice, nationally recognized for the unique way in which it addresses the often difficult topic of multicultural awareness and diversity. Designed for more than just therapists, if you're a helping professional in any way, diversity in clinical practice can help you meet the greatest variety of cultural needs possible for those whom you serve, and it's available in paper and audiobook versions for your convenience. And if you haven't heard it yet, I invite you to visit TED.com and check out my talk called What to Do When You Offend Someone, where I offer a positive and practical perspective on how to navigate unintentional offenses in daily life. To date, it's been viewed over 500,000 times. Check it out for yourself, and if you're encouraged by it as well, share it with a friend. And whether it be through my one-on-one relationship building efforts as a therapist or my informing and empowering efforts as an author or speaker, know that my personal mission is to do my part to improve the world one strengthened relationship at a time. So, today I want to share with you a few encouraging words and perspectives on presidential hopes and fears. Whether or not you decided to tune in and watch, last night was Donald Trump's second time being inaugurated as the President of the United States of America. And one of the most memorable aspects of the event, that includes a lot of ceremony and tradition, is the president's inauguration speech. In Trump's speech, he used his time to thank those he felt contributed to his election campaign, as well as paint a picture for what citizens of the United States could look forward to during his time as their leader. Interestingly, while this aim was clearly to convey reasons for hope, and there were ample reasons to believe that for many as he succeeded in that effort, there are also many reasons that people have for believing that those hopes were drowned out by reasons for fear. As a marriage and family therapist, I know this dilemma well, having seen intimate partners have to wrestle with deciding whether a circumstance outside of their control is a good thing or a bad thing, something to be hopeful for, resulting in reassurance and rest, or something to be fearful and cautious of, resulting in feelings of anxiety and a need to protect oneself from potential harm. And if they have drawn a conclusion that is the same, it makes it easier for them to appreciate their partnership and make healthier decisions together moving forward. However, if they do not interpret the situation in the same way, discord can form and distance between them can grow. This is not simply because they didn't like each other's response, but more significantly, because the other person's perspective is often seen as detrimental to the future of the relationship. The one who is reassured can see the other partner's anxiety as unnecessary negativity, creating problems when positivity is the goal, and thus resulting in distance between them. However, the partner who feels reason for caution can see their partner as inadequately preparing to protect the family as a whole from perceived threats to their present or future well-being, making connection and comfort more difficult to achieve. Why do I bring all this up? Well, because this is what I'm reminded of when I hear differing reactions to Trump's inauguration speech. Some are inspired by hope, and many see reasons for caution. Inspired by what has been a beneficial in helping bring couples together, I wanted to share a few helpful considerations regarding how to work together in light of differing presidential hopes and fears. The first consideration is this: there are many reasons for presidential hopes and fears to be considered inspiring. During Trump's speech, he declared that the golden age of America begins now. He elaborated on what this meant, citing that he has plans to bring about significant economic growth, improving the financial security and stability of the country as a whole, as well as practically impacting the daily economic lives of everyday Americans. He spoke of growth in improving America's education system with hopes of being more competitive as compared to those in other countries. Acknowledging the frustrations many Americans feel in getting the care they need, Trump also spoke of growth in the healthcare system, conveying care for the health and well-being of all Americans and a desire to make things better. One overall theme he seemed to be intending to convey was that he sees our struggle, he cares, and he plans to make things better. On the surface, there's hardly a problem here. Hope is good, growth is good. Economic, educational, and healthcare, and many other topics of growth being discussed are indeed important and are imperfect at the moment, making them worthy of attention and wisdom for strategic growth to be made, both in the short term and the long term. Those who see these messages and many others like them can understandably feel inspired and hopeful for the potential positive impact Trump can have through his leadership role as President of the United States. That being said, that is not all that he said during his speech, which leads to other considerations. For example, there are many reasons for presidential fears that many consider concerning. One of the reasons why many people heard the same speech but felt concern and fear instead of inspiration and hope is that they're not as confident that the golden age of America that Trump proclaimed begins now includes them. For example, while Trump spoke about making improvements in America's immigration policies to ensure that criminals are prevented from entering, Trump also has a history of ambiguity regarding the steps that he will take to ensure that individuals and families who are not criminals will be safe and unaffected by these new policies. This is in part the case because direct questions about such, expressing concern that sweeping policies and strategies might completely disrupt the lives of those who have done nothing wrong, are often responded with essentially messages that convey mistakes are likely to happen, so that's a risk we're willing to take. Similarly, in Trump's speech, he proclaimed that as of today, it will henceforth be the official policy of the United States government that there are only two genders, male and female. This is concerning to many in consideration of the fact that credible research estimates that approximately 1.7% of the US population, or approximately 5.6 million people, are born intersex, i.e., born with physical variations that don't fit categories of male or female. This and other similar proclamations seem on the surface to eliminate the perceived to be inconvenient issue of race or gender and make life easier for people, but in reality contribute to people's fears of judgment, reduced emotional and relational safety, as well as outright lack of physical safety in the form of gender or race-related hate crimes, let alone reduced resources and limited accessibility in many circumstances, all based on the inconvenience of some who don't like what they don't understand and wish not to understand and definitely not accommodate. And of course, there's Trump's declaration that he will also end the government policy of trying to socially engineer race and gender into every aspect of public and private life. We will thus forge a society that is colorblind and merit based. I've discussed before and likely will again the common misunderstanding that DEI is not the opposite of merit based. For DEI hires are not synonymous with being only hired because of skin color, in contrast to being colorblind. The concerning part here is that it sounds like the transition to go from maximizing the benefits of diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts for all, and not just for some, will be trashed in favor of a system that we call merit based, but in practice will potentially return to being based on the merits some have achieved in the standards set out by those in the majority based on whatever they already do well or have the resources to excel in more so than others. Which leads to a third consideration, and that is that moving forward, both hopes and fears need to be considered by all. As a marriage and family therapist, I've learned that the solution to the dilemma I expressed earlier, where partners have differing hopes and fears, is not to listen to and then determine which partner is right and the other be wrong. Instead, the challenge is helping the hopeful partner see, understand, and empathize with the cautious partner. So much so that they feel compelled to judge less those cautions and instead help create protective realities that reduce the need for those cautions moving forward. Similarly, the challenge is also to help the cautious partner see the legitimate desires for the well being of everyone in the relationship, rather than seeing them as callously disrespectful, and to share in whatever reasons for redemptive hope there may be, while also working together to judge less, but instead find mutually agreeable compromise in hopes of everyone's needs getting met, everyone's cautions being considered in word and in action, so that everyone can move forward together in a healthy way. Such that this is my hope for America. My hope for you is that you will be able to do your part to identify and own your own hopes as well as your cautions with respect to America's leadership from the top to the bottom. I hope that America's leaders are able to see the legitimacy of their hopes and dreams as well as the legitimate reasons for caution many people have. not just conceptually, but in a way that goes beyond saying, trust me, I know what I'm doing. Or worse, I know what you need better than you do. But instead offers in a way that says, I hear your concerns and I'm willing to modify things in order to help meet those needs that you're facing every day and reassure you in action that you will be seen, you will be safe and considered today and moving forward. For now, reasons for hope as well as reasons for fear continue to remain a piece of concern. So far, we've seen the promises for better. I hope that next will come the reasons to believe that they're more than just word promises, that they can also be put into action, not just for the betterment of some, but for the betterment of all, not for the reassurance of some, but the reassurance of everyone. And with that, I'll say thanks again for listening to today's Diversity Do podcast. If you have any pressing diversity-related questions that you'd like me to address on an upcoming podcast, or if your organization is in need of a shame-free and empowering guest speaker or training on this often sensitive topic, feel free to reach out to me directly at www.diversitymadesimple.com. And if you know anyone else who can benefit from a positive and encouraging perspective on this often difficult topic, then feel free to send them a link to this podcast so they can be encouraged as well, or share with them my award-winning book, Diversity in Clinical Practice, available at Amazon.com. And don't forget to visit TED.com and check out my talk on what to do when you offend someone. I hope it inspires you and that you share with someone so that they can be inspired as well. And as usual, I look forward to addressing as many topics as possible in future podcasts to help you improve as many relationships as possible at work, at home, and in your community. And as always, remember this: you don't need to know everything about everyone in order to have a positive impact on someone. Thank you all for tuning in, and have a great day.
Tune in each week and find out how to demand and implement diversity at your job. To hear more, check out previous Diversity Dude shows on ShalettaMakesMeLaugh.com.
You know Shaletta makes you laugh, but did you know Shaletta Brundage can also make you think and boost your business? Media personality, activist, and comedian Shaletta Brundage founded Shaletta Makes Me Laugh to celebrate and share the best of Black culture. It's a podcasting platform. You can download 10 weekly podcasts hosted by African American subject experts at ShalettaMakesMeLaugh.com or wherever you find your favorite podcasts. ShalettaMakesMeLaugh.com is also a production house creating broadcast quality commercial content. And Shaletta and her team of storytellers create powerful promotional campaigns to get businesses the brand awareness they're looking for. Some of Minnesota's top businesses trust Shaletta, and you can too. Get out the word about your events and products and get in front of communities of color with ShalettaMakesMeLaugh.com. She's got the power to help your business.